So here's a leg day. I ended up not filming the whole workout. My lower back started really hurting after hack squats, just really pumped, and then I just wasn't in the mood to film the rest. But I figured I'd still put up what I got anyways. So I started the leg day with calves, and I start every leg day with calves. And it's been a conscious decision for about 15 years to do that. My reasoning is that I didn't like my calves, and if I put them at the end of the workout, it was easy to neglect them, skip them, forget them, or not train them hard. If I tried to do one of the weird programs people do where, you train calves every day, or you do 100 sets this day, or you train them every other day, I never saw that work with anybody. And I thought to myself, I wouldn't expect that to work with any other muscle group. I wouldn't do 3 sets of chest every single day, or I wouldn't do some weird exotic 1,000 rep workout for chest 6 times a week, and then 6 weeks later expect to have a massive chest. And so I thought, why would I expect calves to be any different? So I put them at the start of my leg day, and I hit them only on leg day, and I treat them with a detailed plan and just as hard as any other muscle group. And I don't think my calves are great, but they're certainly not a body part I think is weak. I think they're about as good as they naturally, or as my genetics will allow. So I start every day with something for the gastrocnemius and then something for the soleus every leg day. And the way I do the seated calf raise is I do it like a mechanical drop set. I'll lean my body over the weight you'll see here. And, I'm pretty fat, so that adds, 70, 80 pounds. I don't really know. But, most of my upper body weight's leaning over my feet there. And then you'll see as it starts getting towards failure, I'll lean back. So now maybe 50 pounds is added to the weight. And then as I get closer and closer to failure, I'll lean back further and then back further and then even start pulling up on the pad to continue the set longer. And that does a couple things. It makes the set harder, but it also lets me go to failure without having to put as much weight on the machines. And when you're young, you like to load lots of weight up so everyone can see you. But after 26 years of doing this, anything that has me moving less plates around the gym makes me happy. So that's kind of how I do seated calf all the time. This is my heavy set on hammer strength single leg curl, and this was kind of a waste of a set. I tried to make too big of a jump from my previous PRs, which I haven't used this machine in a while. So I didn't know exactly where my strength would be at, and I overestimated. And should have been about a set of 10 was my goal, roughly in that range, or somewhere maybe 8 to 11, but I didn't get anywhere near that. But live and learn. I just still was heavy, still went as hard as I could. And then on to the hack squat, pre-core hack squat. Used to love the older Icarian hack squat at the Clinton Township gym I used to train at with Steve Kukla back in the day. And this is basically, pre-core is basically a Icarian. The only difference here that I can tell is that this is elevated off the ground a little bit. I think the pre-core used to the V of the foot pad and the backrest used to just meet at the floor, where this kind of curves around and sits about 4 or 5 inches higher. I don't think this feels quite as good as that old Icarian hack squat. I used to love that hack squat. There was zero knee pain for me. All the pressure was in my hips. This still hurts my knees. Not as bad as like a Cybex or a lot of other hack squats, but it's not quite as like power hip centric weight loaded like the old Icarian. At least what I remember. But it's about the best hack squat there is out there that I can find. Anyways, you can't really find those old Icarians anymore. So I'll try to go pretty heavy here. I have a single reverse red band on to aid my knees a little bit. My knees have just been really, really, really bad. Every joint's bad. I've been lifting for so long, but lately my knees have been so bad I have a hard time even getting through workouts. And they were feeling good enough today to at least try to go a little heavy. Didn't quite get what I wanted out of this set. My goal was really 10 reps. I don't know if I psyched myself out of it beforehand or what. The weight felt really heavy. I had a lot of pressure on my shoulders and chest from the pads. I don't know if I was positioned weird, but I actually had petechiae, like little micro broken blood vessels all along my clavicle the next day. And I don't know if it was from that pressure or what, but that was really weighing on me during the workout. And the set, in my head, the set was much more painful than it was. It looks like I did have more reps in me, but yeah, maybe not. I was pretty close there. But the pressure on my chest was really, it felt like my neck was going to burst. So one heavy set there, and then I backed off a plate or two for a back off set, and then went without the knee wraps for the back off set. I don't think the knee wraps help my knees anymore. I don't know if it's counter Malaysia or what, but it's almost like the oh sorry, I did 2 sets, I forgot. It's almost like the wraps put too much pressure on my kneecap and just kind of, that drag the kneecap along that counter Malaysia, and make it almost more painful. This might be the same set filmed twice. I'm not counting reps. Jeez, I don't even remember. Real good detailed workout plan there, I guess. Yeah. So then drop down here. This one's without knee wraps. Still wore the belt because my lower back was getting real tight. I'm bringing my weight up, and I was also sick recently, so my weight was artificially down. And anytime my weight shoots up, especially when it's rebounding up from being a little kind of depleted, my lower back gets real tight. It's my own fault. I don't work on hip mobility or flexibility, and I don't stretch much, and I carry more fat than I probably should, and so there's just a lot of tightness around my hips. And this one was really starting to get to me. I remember this really, really hurt my back. It's kind of that icy burn. Watching the video, it doesn't look nearly as painful as it felt at the time, and it looks like I had a couple more reps in me, but at the time I wasn't even paying attention to my legs or my knees or anything. It was just that burn in your lower back. But once my body readjusts to this weight, that'll go away, and I'll get back to good workouts. And actually, most of my best leg workouts throughout my career were always, you can see the back, god dang it. Most of my best leg workouts over my career were always early in a contest prep, when you still had the size and strength and enough carbohydrates in the workout to fuel the workouts, but you had kind of lost that extra water and bloat and fullness. And that's always when my squat form was the best.